And we are live. There we are.
There we are.
Oh wait. So
No, wait.
let's
There we are.
just kind of all the light from the light.
Yeah, it looks kind of
There we go.
smoky.
Yeah.
Smoky.
I'm not sure why, but
Hi there.
anyways, hi, it's us.
Hi, it's us. How are you? How have you been? What have you been doing? What have we been doing?
We've been really busy.
We've been really busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we try to do one of these once a week. Doesn't always work out that way. I guess we can say that on May 3rd, we were kind of busy. We interred my mom into the mausoleum at Mount Olivet Cemetery. That was an interesting experience.
It was.
Father Jean-Luc.
Yes, you got it right.
Jean-Luc.
Jean-Luc.
I always want to call him Jean-Paul.
Yes, Jean-Luc.
Jean-Luc, I guess it's French. He came and he did a nice service. And it's really wild whenever they open the vault. They open a vault of a mausoleum. They take off a granite panel that's over 200 pounds. Granite. And then inside that is a seal. And then inside that is another seal. And what they did is, my mom was cremated. And they had her urn that we'd given them. And my dad's casket was pushed all the way back. And they put my mom's urn in there. And then they put a seal on it, and they sealed that with silicone. And then they put another seal on it, and they sealed that with silicone. And the guy who did it had to put his initial on it, which happened to be a J. His name was Justin, I think, right?
Correct.
And I was there. My name was Jimmy, and my son was there, and his name is Justin, our son. And the
Funeral director's name is
funeral
Justin.
director from Huntsman, and they are great. His name is Justin. So that was kind of strange. And we all looked at each other like, hope we're not next. Or something like that. And then we found out the reason they did that is whoever does the seal has to put their initial on it so they know who did it.
Correct.
So
that's just like their policy. So it was very interesting.
It was very interesting.
I cried, of course.
I had tears too, but tried not to break out into a full-blown cry.
And we did it on Mom's birthday, too. She would have been 94. It was May 3rd. It was her birthday.
And it was interesting because when we went up there, it was raining. When we got there, the rain stopped. And right as we were finishing up, it started spitting and drizzling. And then it started raining again. So it stopped for about an hour, and then it started back up.
Yeah. And then we came back here with our kids and just had something to eat with them. So it was a nice little family time. It was nice.
It was nice.
We are fostering our oldest daughter's cat. And that's a whole story. We're not going to get into the story, but anyways, we're fostering her cat right now while she's getting some things together, and the cat is really adorable, very sweet. She's 5 years old, but we decided rather than take care of her at my daughter's house, Jimmy decided that it might be easier to take care of her up here. So we brought her up here, and we have 2 other cats, so getting her acclimated to the 2 other cats is a little difficult here at the cottage because we live in a small space and can't really separate her from the others that well because of the way our house is laid out.
That's because of catfid.
Catfid? Catfid. Catfid.
You got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, anyways, she's doing okay. She's 5 years old, and Zoe Beth is 10 or 11?
11.
Zoe Beth is 11, and AON is 8. And Zoe Beth is the best cat ever. She's so friendly, so non-confrontational. She just wants to make friends and give kitty kisses to everyone she meets, humans and animals. And AON is an alpha cat, which is interesting because she was not an alpha cat when we rescued her. She was timid, shy. She ran with a pack of other cats, and she was kind of like the runt, and they were rough with her, and so it took a long time before she got acclimated to us. It actually took 6 months. Whereas this little one, her name is Luna Bell, and I call her Little Pud. She is very friendly, but yet she was a sole cat in her own environment at her house. So it's just going to take a little bit of time, and she kind of likes to do her, like, back and forth on your legs kind of thing while she purrs and hisses at the same time. So Jimmy came up with that song. I forget what the real lyrics are, but Jimmy came up with purring and hissing and purring and hissing. It's really funny, but she's so cute. Like, she has this look on her face. She's a black cat with all 4 of her paws are white.
Wishing and hoping.
Yeah, wishing and hoping. All 4 of her paws are white. She has like this bib of white from her underneath her nose and her little round tufts of her mouth all the way down to like her chest. And it's so cute. It's like, a white beard basically. And she has white whiskers. So when she comes around the corner to check to see if it's safe, she has this look like, I can't even describe it. Her ears are like out like this, and she has big green eyes, and she's got this tiny little face, and she's like,
just like that.
She comes around the corner like, it's so cute. But anyhow, today's podcast is interesting how the topic came up. We have been watching Young Rock on, what station is this?
NBC.
Oh, on NBC. We've been watching Young Rock, and so they're talking about wrestling and things like that. And Jimmy mentioned to me, which I didn't know, but a very long time ago, Jimmy actually met Andre the Giant at Hojo's when it was in Moon Township, and I had no idea that Hojo's, Howard Johnson's, for those of you that are maybe younger and didn't know, Hojo's is Howard Johnson's. I don't know, the lighting changed. I guess it's because of the TV and it just brightened things up. But anyways, Hojo's, he met Andre the Giant. So I said, oh, that would be a very cool podcast for you to talk about what happened. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Jimmy, why don't you talk to everyone about how that happened, how you ended up there, and how you met him, and what happened with that.
I don't even remember when it was. It was back in the days of the WWF, and they had to change their name because of the World Wildlife Federation finally stepped in and said, you can't use WWF, that's our logo, you've got to change it. So they changed it to the World Wrestling Entertainment, which is what it is. It's entertainment.
Yeah.
I'd gone to a wrestling match, and you know what, I can't even remember who I went with. It was probably in the 80s, I'm guessing. I'm guessing it was...
I didn't know Jimmy then.
I think it was in the 80s.
I was graduating from high school in the 80s.
And I think I was in radio at the time. Well, yeah, naturally I was in radio. I've been in radio since 1973. So, I was at the wrestling match with whoever I was at the wrestling match with. We were probably high, and I can't remember. I shouldn't say that, huh? No, I already did. Yeah, I used to get high. I don't anymore for a lot of reasons, but back then I did, and I was probably smoked up. And we had heard from actually one of the wrestlers that after the match they were going to go to Howard Johnson's and hang out. And so whoever I was with and I decided we were going to go there too. So we went to Howard Johnson's, Hojo's, on what is now University Boulevard. And at that time, I don't even think the road had a name. I mean, maybe it did.
Really?
But they named it University Boulevard long after this particular period. And it was kind of cool. So we go in there, and I saw Roddy Piper, and he was sitting with some people at the counter. And I thought that was like really interesting, and I was going to go up and ask him, just say hey, maybe shake his hand or something. I wasn't really looking to get autographs at that point in time because I didn't want to bother these guys. It was like Roddy Piper, Paul Orndorff, Andre the Giant. What are you looking at?
I was checking the battery. Hold on. Plug it in. Keep talking.
Paul Orndorff, Sergeant Slaughter, the Iron Sheik, right? Iron Sheik. Anyway, whoever Sheik that was, and Hulk Hogan, and gosh, I'm trying to think of who else. Anyway, all the big names of wrestling at that time. And it was really interesting because at this particular, and I remember the match. The Iron Sheik busted open Sergeant Slaughter's head, and he was bleeding profusely everywhere. And when he came to Hojo's, he had a Band-Aid, a little Band-Aid above his eyebrow. But, and I can't remember, I think Sergeant Slaughter ended up winning that match. And when we got to Hojo's, we go in, Roddy Piper, as I mentioned, is sitting at the counter, and behind us, Paul Orndorff comes in, and he's got a woman on each arm, right? And he's big shot, Paul Orndorff, loudmouth, and he was kind of that way in real life, at least from my experience with him. He goes into Hojo's, and Roddy Piper said hi to him or said something to him, and Paul got upset and went over, and they got into this like slapping match where they're slapping each other. And the manager came out and said, hey, I wouldn't want to be that manager with like this kind of crowd, you know what I'm saying? But the manager came out and said, hey guys, can you calm down? We really don't want that kind of behavior here. And so they stopped, and Paul Orndorff took his two women and he left. So, Roddy was there, and I said, hey Roddy. He said, hey, and how you doing? Good, how are you? Fine, okay, see ya. And he was eating his chili or chicken soup. And they had a bar. They actually had a bar at this place.
Did they?
They did. Yeah, they had a bar. I just not thought of that. They had a bar.
Wow, I don't ever remember
Hojo's
having a bar.
Having a bar, right. And I would think most restaurants like that didn't. But this one had a bar. And the only reason I remember that is because I went back into the bar, and Hulk Hogan was there, and Sergeant Slaughter and the Iron Sheik. The Iron Sheik and Sergeant Slaughter actually rode together in the car, and they were mortal enemies in the ring.
Did the Iron Sheik cook?
No. No, and they didn't even have the Food Network at that point in time.
Okay.
So they rode together, and they were, they were in the restaurant. But I went over, and I sat beside Andre the Giant. This guy was big. I mean, he was huge. And so I went over and I said, "Excuse me, Mr. Giant. Do you mind if you mind if I sit here?" He goes, "No, go ahead." He talked very slow and kind of mumbly, and he was French. And I think this is about the time his back problems had just started. And he had a lot of back problems when he was wrestling. And if you're into wrestling, or if you were into following any of that, you probably already know about that.
Was that because he was so, tall, and it just...
He was very abnormal, and I think it was a lot of strain on his spinal column. And then getting, well, not that he got slammed a lot, but,
as a wrestler.
Hardly anybody knocked him down, but I think that wrestling took its toll on him and his back just because of the nature of the business.
Yeah.
So, anyway, he was sitting there, and I came in and I sat down, and I said, "How you doing?" He goes, "Okay." He said, "How you doing?" I said, "Fine, thank you." And I ordered a drink. And he ordered a drink. Now, when he ordered a drink, now most people will drink beer from a mug, right? And then they'll order a pitcher of beer and they'll pour it in. His glass was a pitcher. That was his glass.
Wow.
What most people would use as a pitcher pouring into a glass, that was his mug. And the thing looked like a mug, in his hand. His hands were huge. And I was looking at him, I said, my goodness. I said, hey, that's a nice ring you have. He goes, oh, you like that? And I said, yeah, I do. That's pretty cool. And he told me where he got it, and I don't remember. He said, here, try it on. And I said, really? He said, yeah, go ahead. And I mean, this guy's hands probably made 4 of mine, 3 or 4. So I took this ring, and it was big. It was big. And I mean, it was so big, honestly, I could fit 4 of my fingers into this ring.
Oh my goodness.
That's how big it was. I said, wow, that's incredible. And I think he was like one of the largest people that maybe ever lived. And I think he had some kind of abnormality at birth or something. But I'll tell you what.
We watched some sort of documentary on him before.
We did. On HBO, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yes, we did. And it was all about the McMahon family finding out about him and going to France and talking him into coming back to the United States. And I think he thought he was going to play basketball or something. I don't know. But he turned into being a wrestler. And I sat and I talked to him probably for a good half hour, 45 minutes. And you couldn't find a nicer guy. He was just like so genuine. It seemed like he was very honest and sincere with me when he was talking to me. And he was really nice. And it touched my heart. And it was a nice memory, and it was a nice experience. And all I can say is, rest in peace, Andre.
Now, how did you know that these guys were going to be there?
I heard somebody mention it. And they used to always go there, so they had kind of a reputation for going to Hojo's after the wrestling matches at what was then the Civic Arena. Mm-hmm. And I think it was in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably, because that's... well, yeah, because you said that you weren't
I wasn't married yet. I got married in 83.
Jimmy and Jimmy was married before me, obviously, because those of you that know us know that he was married before to Justin's mom. So this was before Justin's our son and my stepson. But this was before Justin was even born, and Jimmy, as you said, you probably weren't even married then.
No, I don't think I was.
So that must have been, when did you get married the first time?
83.
Oh, okay, so it had to be early 80s.
Early 80s.
Or
yes.
late 70s.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it was a great experience.
Yeah.
So anyway, I had mentioned that to Dina, and she said, why don't we talk about that on the podcast? So there, I just did.
Yeah, I just thought that would be like a cool little story to share for all of you, and getting to, oh, sorry, I keep scratching you, and getting to know us, and, just hearing about the different things that we've experienced in our lives. So we're going to wrap up this podcast today, but I do want to mention that we have a Patreon page. We'd love for you to join us there. We have what we call podcasts of music there, and we're planning on putting other podcasts that we would not do on our YouTube channel, exclusive podcasts to patrons only over there. We have a couple different levels you can join. One is $3 a month and one is $5 a month. So it's totally worth it to kind of hang out with us, and that helps support us, and we would appreciate your support over there. Also, if you're not interested in joining like a monthly thing, that's cool. That's fine. But you would like to support us, we do have our virtual tip jar, and you can go ahead and leave us a tip at paypal.me/pnlmedia. We will go ahead and leave a link below in the description box to this particular podcast. We're hoping to get back out there and do some shows. We have been planning and booking shows with the Hattrick Band, and we're pretty much getting booked up with that at the moment. But we are starting to acquire some dates and some things going on with our duo. So that's pretty exciting. And that's right. So thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you. If you have not yet subscribed to our YouTube channel, we'd love for you to do that. Hit the subscribe button and the little bell as well so you don't miss a single podcast or any other video that we post. And like this video as well. It really helps support our channel. And it's free to just hit that little like button, you know.
Yeah, hit that button
Yeah.
over there.
And like there. I
Wherever.
don't know, whatever.
Just, you know where it is. Hit it.
Yeah. So thank you so much, and we appreciate your time.
And maybe the next time I'll tell you about my dentist appointment. Oh, it was bad. Yeah, maybe. First time in 13 years since I've been to a dentist because I haven't had insurance.
Dental insurance.
Dental insurance.
Yeah.
It's, boy, I'll tell you what's going on in my mouth. You wouldn't want going on in your mouth.
Oh my, that sounds like too much information. We're gonna end it right here. Love you guys. Bye.
See you.